Kia ora, good evening. So, you know how in the last couple of videos I've been teaching you about the difference between the paranormal and the supernatural, and how it is my job to educate people to show them the truth of what they're really dealing with, so that it clears up any misconceptions. It's also helping parents with children who are dealing with things inside their home, as they most likely will, especially if they're of a certain intellectual ilk um, that requires the truth and about what they're really dealing with, using science and logic and reason and doubt and compromise, which are all subconscious attributes of the human mind. So in the description box below, I'm going to put a couple of links. Now, in the first one, the one called Last One, the very last video is the one I'm talking about in regards to ghosts and hauntings, or time bends and time slips. Now, let's just assume that this last video is real and not staged, because with ones like this it can be hard to tell, especially with AI and with Photoshop and things like that nowadays. So many people are faking paranormal and supernatural videos because it makes them money and it makes their videos go viral. But it is sending a very, very dangerous message to people who are trying to find answers to the questions they seek when it comes to their spiritual development, their spiritual evolution, their psychological well-being, and also to find answers to experiences that they're having that are confusing them, or that they don't understand, or that are scaring them. And of course, the first thing they do is go to the internet and put in certain searches for things, and it's going to come up with lies, basically. And as a scientist, I can't have that. I can't have people believing lies when it is a detriment to their mental health, their spiritual well-being, their financial growth even as well, because if people slip into enough depression, enough of a depression, they can lose their jobs, they can flunk school, all sorts of things can come from being fed the wrong information. So we're going to assume that this last video is real, that it is authentic, and not staged at all. And what you see is a man who picks up his phone, and because he's hearing something in the basement, and the basement door opens and he sees someone peeking around the corner. He then goes down into the basement, and then he feels or sees someone in the corner, and he goes to follow it, and he gets that panic and fear, and blah blah yada yada. Now, if this is true, this is one of those very rare examples of a time slip, where it's obvious to see that the basement is being used as, or has been used as, or will be used as like a small apartment. It's not one of those typical basements that's got the washing machine and like a furnace, and stored boxes and that. Although it does look like that in there, it actually looks like at one point it was, or it's been turned into, like a playroom or an extra bedroom, or like a small apartment, like maybe someone lived down there. It had that feeling of it being like an extra living space. Not that that matters, but if in the past or the future somebody's down in that room because it's their living room and they're home by themselves and they hear a noise upstairs, or even if it was the washroom and they were down there doing a load of washing and they heard someone upstairs, so they creep up the stairs and quietly open the door to see who's up in the kitchen living room area, like this video gives off the impression that it has, then that is a time slip. That isn't a ghost. It's not a dead person, even though the person might be dead and like now. At the time that that person snuck up the stairs and peeked through the door, they were very much alive. And what that man is witnessing, the head peeking around the corner as the shadow in that, they're very much alive. They are alive. And their times have slipped. The frequency in the atmosphere has been pitch perfect to where the two timelines have crossed paths, so that the man filming the video is seeing, let's just say it's a man downstairs who hears a noise and comes upstairs. That man in the basement could very well have been telling stories about how he swears to God he heard someone talking upstairs in the dining room, living room, but when he went to check, there was no one there. That's a time bend. If he saw someone, like this video was pertaining, like he peeked round the corner and then like ran to hide in the corner because he was afraid, it means that he saw the person filming the video. That's a time slip. A time bend is when they'll experience the phenomenon, but the two won't acknowledge each other. One will see the other, but one won't acknowledge the other. They won't even know the other person is there. That's a ghost. And a haunting is like, well, that's what, well, okay, sorry. A time bend is when you see what's a haunting? A haunting is where you'll hear the same thing over and over. You'll hear someone in the kitchen. You'll hear, oh God, it swings and roundabouts of so many ways of what a time bend and time slip are, depending on the exact existence, because a haunting can also be, like I said, someone every now and then you feel come into your room and hop into bed with you. That's a haunting. It's where it's repetitive, but you can also have hauntings where it's like in ghostly form, where you will see someone coming up the drive, like clockwork, and you swear they turn to look at you when you peek out the window to see who it is. And if there's an interaction, if they acknowledge you, that's a time slip. And this video, there's like a brief acknowledgement that the other is there, but because they don't understand what's going on, it's been misconstrued as paranormal activity. But the both of them are very much alive in that second that they are having that experience. Now, at the end of the video, when you see the man with the camera running and like moving swiftly over to the corner because he thinks he hears someone in the corner, more than likely that person saw him standing upstairs and thought, what the hell? Thought there was a burglar, heard him coming downstairs and ran to hide in the corner. Because if you're in a basement and you think you've got an intruder, your instinct is to run and hide in the corner. Now, interestingly, if you've ever had a situation where you've been, say, got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, or you've got up to do something and you're walking around the house and it's quiet, or, you're by yourself and you get that feeling like someone's behind you, and then you suddenly feel like that rush, like they're running up behind you, and you feel panicked and scared and kind of go, ooh, and quickly sort of like run and look over your shoulder, but there's no one there, but you feel that panic like someone's right behind you. That example that I've just explained of the man with the camera going down into the basement and following the noise into the corner of the basement is that person that was in the basement that saw him recording in the kitchen, who probably went to run and hide in the corner of the basement, would have felt that feeling of that man running up behind him with the camera, not knowing what the hell was going on, but in reality, he would have felt the energy behind him but not seen it. That's what that is. When you've had that experience, it means that somebody has seen you and thought, who the hell's that going up the hallway? And gone to check it out, or gone to follow you to say, hey, hang on a minute, who the hell are you? And because you can't see them, you've felt it and thought, oh my God, what the hell, thinking someone's chasing you or that it's a ghost, but in actual fact, you're the ghost to the person who was living at the time they saw you. So that person in the basement, if it was in the past or if it hasn't happened yet because it's in the future, you're going to be a ghost story to someone. I swear to God, I was in the basement and I heard a noise upstairs, and I went upstairs and I saw a man standing there, and he started following me, so I ran and hid in the basement, and when I felt him coming up behind me and I turned around, he was gone and there was nothing there. And nothing had been taken, and I looked on the cameras and there was nothing there, that sort of thing. That's exactly what it is. But it's not paranormal because neither of you are dead at the time that you have the experience. And quite often, more than not, a lot of the reasons why they'll show up on videos as like shadows and silhouettes is because they haven't physically manifested. Because a physical manifestation looks like flesh and blood, and it takes a lot for time to manifest physical reality. And so in videos, they'll always usually come up as shadows, because the camera can't identify that the person isn't of this time. So it will manifest the image as a shadow because it's not flesh and blood, because time isn't flesh and blood. Time is not physical. So the camera can't tell the difference, and that's why it comes up as, they'll come up as, there's I've tried to find it before. I remember it was in a video, because I watch a lot of these videos because obviously it helps me teach everyone. It helps me know what videos to put out. It also gives me places to investigate, and places where I've got to lay down my tane clay and that to do cleansings and that. There's a famous video going about from like the 90s or something, where someone's standing in the kitchen videotaping. You see your head peek round the corner at the bottom of the stairs a couple of times, and then you hear them run off. And then someone in the living room stands up from an armchair and kind of peeks through the gap in the door, and then I can't remember if the door opens or not, but I know you see them get up from the chair and move towards the door and kind of peek through the door, and the person with the camera absolutely freaks out. That is one of the best examples you will ever see of a time slip. A time bend, which is the thumbnail for my haunting versus ghost, time slip versus time bend video of the Gettysburg soldier, is the prime example of a time bend. In that video, and the link is in the description box for it, you see Gettysburg soldiers just going about their business, setting up camp, cooking food, I think, even carrying laundry. Just obviously they're not fighting, they're back at camp having food and all that, and you just see them on camera just milling about. That's a genuine supernatural phenomenon, a genuine time bend. That is video that can't be faked. And they were manifest in the flesh, but they were also see-through. And it's one of the best examples you'll ever see of what a time bend is. And a time slip, if this last video was genuine, then this is what a time slip is. And so they're not ghosts, they're not dead, even though in reality, in physical reality, they might be dead. It might be an occurrence that happened with somebody 20 years ago happening right now as you're recording it. So they might be dead now, but at the time you're having that experience, they are very much alive. They might be dead in real life, but at the time of the experience, they're very much alive, and your time paths have crossed, which is pretty cool. So you don't be afraid, embrace it. Sit in the moment, sit in the experience, because you're witnessing a supernatural phenomenon that defies the laws of physics, which is very, very exciting as a scientist. Why would you want to believe that was a dead person when the reality of it is so much cooler? The second video is for the Mark and Debbie Constantino killed by ghosts. This isn't to, like, I'm not having to go at the people making these videos because they're top 5. So, and with the slapped hand one, fair dues, he does always like give both sides of the people who do believe in the skeptics and all that sort of thing. But 5 instances of people killed by ghosts. The first one with Father, they call him Malachi, but it's not, it's Malachi. From The Exorcist, his death got blamed on ghosts. He fell down the stairs or something, fell and hit his head, and that got blamed on ghosts. But the Mark and Debbie Constantino thing is an absolute insult to science. To blame a toxic domestic abuse situation on ghosts is utterly ridiculous. These people that are making these videos are saying, oh, well, you know, because they work with spirit boxes and, you know, picking up voices on videos and all that sort of thing, the ghost killed them, when in actual fact the both of them were in a very toxic domestic abuse, domestically violent situation where they were both violent and toxic towards each other. And when she moved on, he snapped. He shot her roommate, then he shot her, then he shot himself because he was messed in the head. Him and his daughter and her were all messed in the head, were very dark, twisted, toxic people. And because it got out of hand and he couldn't handle the breakup and everything with her trying to get on with her life, he snapped and tried to kill her. I know that from first-hand experience. Men who snap and try to kill you because they don't get what they want from you. Not a ghost though, maybe demonic, but like I've said before, demons aren't anything that lives in hell and comes up from the underworld. They're things that you draw up from yourself when you're in your deepest, darkest, most toxic mindset. It is your deepest fears and your darkest terrors manifesting psychologically in real life. You manifest it. You manifest what you create. You become what you manifest. You become the company you keep as well. That's why I keep my social circle very, 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 very small, because I will not associate with anyone who exhibits any signs of toxic behaviour. We all have down days. We all have things go wrong where we're like, sort of thing. But I watch and observe how people deal with these things, and then I act accordingly. And if you act in a way around me that is toxic or abusive, either to yourself or to our relationship, depending on who you are to me, I have no hesitations in cutting you off, because I've got children to protect. And if you're going to treat me like that, I have no guarantee you're not going to treat the children like that. If you disrespect me and my body or my sexuality or my femininity or my leadership skills or my knowledge or my children or my friendship or my love or my whatever, if you're going to treat me like that and you say you love me and you call me friend, or you call me sibling, or you say we're family, or you say we're a clan, or you say that you're in love with me and want to spend the rest of your life with me, and you treat me like that, I have no guarantees that you're not going to treat the children like that or my staff like that. And like I keep saying, the kids come first. I have no hesitations in getting rid of people who exhibit signs of toxic behaviour now, because I will not take your crap on as my own. I've carried other people's baggage for far too long. I've finally dumped that crap and now I'm baggage free. And I have no interest in being, I don't mind helping. If the people that I love need my help, I am the first one there. But if there are people who have certain expectations of me as to what I will bring to the table for them, you can guarantee I'm going to expect to have the same reciprocity in return, because I will no longer be in relationships where I give everything and get nothing in return. And that's siblings, that's students, client, like all of it. I'm not just talking about like love relationship. I nearly ended up like Debbie Constantino because I chose the wrong men. But it's not just platonic relationship. It's not just sexual relationships. It's every relationship you have. Choose the right people to be around. You're not obligated to stick with someone just because you share the same parents. You're not obligated to even love your parents if your parents don't respect you. You give respect where you get respect, and the respect has to be on the same level of reciprocity. If you're putting in all the effort, these people don't respect you. So don't be with people who don't respect you. Be by yourself and respect yourself. Like, have not even a single person in your life, if nobody in your life respects you, but respect yourself. And this is obviously what she tried to do. She got flatmates she tried to go at on her own, and he couldn't stand that. And he didn't want her having a life without him, so he took it away from her. And then the coward shot himself to get out of having to deal with the consequences of his actions, and that got blamed on ghosts. So, as someone who has a science that is alleviating people's mental health issues, that's eradicating paranormal activity, that is getting people off medication and back to, well, not even some of them back to, but starting them on a road to psychological recovery just by understanding who they are, where they came from, why they're in pain, why they're experiencing what they are, by giving their wounded inner child a voice or recognition or acknowledgement. As someone who's developed a science that wants to do that with children to start them young, I find these kind of things very offensive because they're so dangerous. Because people are so desperate to understand who and what they are now. Why am I like that? Why does this keep happening? You know, they're looking for answers in all the wrong places, and there are millions upon millions of videos out there only too happy to feed you lies and bullshit, and I can't do that because I'm not allowed to lie. I would rather just rip open my chest and bare my soul to the world, honestly, and have people hear things that they don't want to hear or that they don't like being told, than to pander to people with delicate feelings and emotions who can't handle the truth and don't want to hear the truth because it goes against their little protective bubble of not wanting to admit that they have issues or problems or faults that need fixing. The worst kind of person you can be around is somebody who will not admit that they have faults or that they've done something wrong. People who won't take personal accountability for their actions are some of the most toxic people in the world because they are the throw stones and hide hands people. They're the ones who will talk about you behind your back. They're the ones that plot and plan and scheme ways to get what they want at your expense without you knowing about it, because they will never just come out and tell you that their intentions with you and their relationship with you are less than honourable. Whereas I just tell people straight out, I don't want to be your friend because I don't trust you. But I mean, it cuts the conversation off very quick, because I'm don't waste my time. And when you think of all the years that couple, Debbie and Mark, have spent hurting each other and feeding into that codependent, toxic relationship, and it ended in tragedy and death, and an innocent person got killed as well. Her flatmate got killed. So they took that to an innocent person and got their child involved, which is even worse. And it got blamed on ghosts. Mental illness, he was clearly suffering from like a psychotic episode. He was clearly not right in the head to begin with, but she fueled it by reacting exactly how he wanted her to react in order to give him a reason to respond. So they were both feeding off each other, got innocent people involved, and now 3 people are dead, and it got blamed on ghosts. And I can't have that. So I put these little podcasts out. I say podcasts because they will be future podcasts. And I'll make my video games, and I will make my movies and my stories and my books, except I write them, and even my shows, Occult Private Eyes, when I go around the world doing these investigations and giving these talks and, doing meet and greets with people and answering their questions for them, and doing my talkback radio and live stream videos on YouTube and all that. When I get out there, I'll be able to show people on my show, because I want to record it all, put it on my streaming service, my investigations and all of that. I want to put it all out there for the world to see. Then I can show people in person, because one of the things that I plan on doing is organising like little bus trips where we'll take them out to places like Beliskin Cemetery. I'll tell them the story. I'll tell them, what's been going on. And then I can show them on our little bus trips with my clays and sprays, because I'm going to have like a membership club. And when I go to certain places, I'll offer members to come on personal trips with me where they can take their supplies, and I will show them how to cleanse and cross things over using my clays and sprays, so that when I go off to my next adventure and then they're left in their town or country or off doing their own tourism thing, when they come across places, they'll know what to do, they'll know how to handle it, and then they'll use my clays and sprays to deal with it all. And then that's people helping me spread the light and heal Papatuanuku from everything that she's had to absorb because of these lies and fallacies and misunderstandings of what hauntings and ghosts are. And then we get to heal the planet together, and when you heal the planet, you heal mankind. So, time bends and time slips know the difference. I'm telling you, once you open your eyes up to it, you'll never see the paranormal and ghosts in that the same way. It took, when I realised, when I started doing my blog, because I had been doing card readings for years, giving advice on my WordPress and that, when I started developing quantum magnetics and I was stepping into the world of being an occult scientist and theoretical physicist and evolutionary theorist and all that, I started to realise that everything I knew about the paranormal was wrong. And it took me a good 2 or 3 years of plucking up the courage to start putting articles out there where I had to say to people, actually, I think we might have this whole ghost and paranormal thing wrong, knowing that it was going to rock a few boats out there, because I was basically going to be tipping the paranormal world upside down in order to reveal the truth of what it actually was. Because nobody wants to hear that they're experiencing paranormal activity because of depression or grief, or and it doesn't have to be them going through it. It could be someone in the house or they're around, or like I've said, someone who used to be in the house. But that's what it is. And people would rather believe that their problems have come from a dead person than to just admit they hate their job, or they're in a relationship that is making them unhappy, or that, their best friend, they don't want to be friends with their best friend anymore because they don't like their behaviour. And so they get worked up and pent up so much it can create paranormal activity. But instead of just admitting, actually, I'm unhappy, and that's why the house is reacting the way it is, and just saying to the friend, look, I can't do this anymore, or saying to the boss, I don't want to work these hours anymore, or I quit, or whatever, instead of just admitting it, they'd rather just sit and fester in their own anxiety and fear and depression and misery, or the other person's depression and misery, than to just have respect for themselves and say, I'm better than this, I can't live like this anymore, and then do something about it. So I'm trying to inspire people to do something about it. You only get one life as you. Don't mess it up. Because as a high priestess, as a death angel, as somebody whose job it is as a dark angel to go in and get people when they are going through dark nights of the soul, when they are on the brink of giving up life and hope, when they are dying, because I sit with a lot of people who are dying, the one thing that they will always say to you is, don't die with regrets. You get one life as you, so live it without regrets. Don't get to the end of your life, whenever that might be, and think, oh my God, I wish I'd just told that person I loved them. Oh my God, I wish I'd just gone for that audition. Oh my God, I wish I'd gone back for that job. Or I wish I'd, no more wishing, just do it. Because if you were dead by the time you put your phone down from watching this video and you were dead, how many regrets are you going to have? I wish I had have done this. I wish I had have done that. I wish. Well, make your wishes come true and just do it. Because what's the worst that can happen? You're not going to know until you try. You're not going to know until you try. And if you try and fail, it's better to try and fail than never to try at all. Because if you don't even try, then it's going to be a regret. And regrets come back in the next life as karma. I promise you. I'm a high priestess. I know all about death. I know all about resurrections and reincarnation. I am the goddess of regeneration. I mean, a Scorpio's totem, just off the bat, is Phoenix. So, irrespective of me being a high priestess and a death angel and a dark angel and a blah, 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 just as a Scorpio, just in my very basic nature, I know about death better than anyone. We rule it. We rule death and we rule resurrections, regeneration, starting all over again. And I promise you, regrets that you have when you die come back as karma in your next life. So don't create more karma for yourself. Pay it all off now while you're here. Because when you pay off all your karmic debt, and you've been sent to pay off ancestral karmic debt as well. So like with the Mark and Debbie Constantino thing, breaking the cycle of violence, breaking the my mother used to hit us kids. I never hit my children. I broke that karmic cycle by not being like my mum and being physically abusive towards my kids. My father was unfaithful. I was with men that were unfaithful, but when I realised the toxic situation I was in, I broke that karmic cycle, and now I keep myself pure for one man and one man only, and that's the man I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. I broke that karmic cycle. So you can pay off karmic debt by breaking karmic cycles. Don't be an alcoholic. Don't gamble. My dad, I was from a family with Indigenous families. Alcoholism and gambling is a thing. And my sisters and brothers and I, we broke that cycle. We didn't gamble. We didn't become alcoholics, So we broke those karmic cycles. You can break those karmic cycles by changing your behavior. You pay off a lot of debt for your ancestors, for the ones who, were the wife beaters or the husband beaters or the whatevers, the who's-evers and whatevers. By you not being like that, you break that karmic cycle. And when you pay off karmic debt, I'm telling you now, you end up with the most incredible life of peace. Even with turmoil happening around you, even with storms whirling around you, you live a life of peace. And that's the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to find the meaning in life, so that when you die in peace. You die with peace. Live with peace, die with peace. because you have no regrets, you have nothing on your mind that's weighing you down, and you have no karmic debt or karmic baggage to carry around. Living a life of peace is better than living a life seeking riches. I would rather live a life of peace than live a life surrounded by luxury. Money can't buy love and it can't buy peace. Money buys sex. Money can buy sex, but it can't buy love. And it certainly can't buy peace. So, yeah, just some advice there. So the links are in the description box below. Know the difference between a ghost and a haunting. Know the difference between a time bend and a time slip. Know the difference between the paranormal and the supernatural. And for the love of God, know that ghosts cannot kill you. The dead cannot kill you at all. So, learning is knowledge, knowledge is wisdom, wisdom is power. When you have the power over your own mind, man, you won't believe what you're going to be able to manifest just by letting it all go. And reprogramming the way your mind sees what happens to us when we die and after we die. So I'm going to go now, and I will speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.